o'clock.
Thank you. It's 3 o'clock, and we are calling to order the Alamance County Board of Elections meeting. This is October 26, 2021, and we are still meeting at the MedCap building, and our audience is virtual. We have a quorum present, so you have a copy of the agenda before you. We will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Properly moved and second that the agenda be approved. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed will signify by saying no. Motion carries. You have a copy of the minutes from October 19th, 2021. They were emailed to us, correct?
Maybe.
Did anyone, let me ask you this, did anyone read the minutes from October 19th, 2021?
I did, Madam Chair.
Okay, they were emailed to us.
Yes, we have
That's
right
right.
here also, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have not, do you need a minute to look over? Okay, are there any additions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second that the minutes be approved. Are there any additions, corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed will signify by saying no. Motion carries. Approval of absentee ballot applications, and we will be hearing from Dawn.
We have a total of 53 today that's been returned. And we'll do like we did last year. I'll just give each one of you a stack to kind of look over.
Thank you.
Okay. And here, this is the list of all of them, and that's the last page. If y'all just want to sign that.
I have a question.
Yes.
Just looking through and again, like I had asked last time about where they're stamped, like arrival date, and a couple of them didn't. I looked last time I asked and they were in the wrong spot or in a
Well, it
different
doesn't
spot.
matter. I mean, some are stamped up here and some are stamped down there. It depends on who gets the mail,
Right.
who checks the mail in that day.
But I was looking at this time and it looked like a couple still didn't have a stamp on them,
Oh,
even in a different place.
I'll go back through them and
Mine are probably on one end or the other, so.
Yeah, well, I can look in,
And just
I can look
I don't
on
know
that
how
list and
important that
tell
is,
when it was
that it's
that.
on there, is that a very important thing or?
Only if it comes towards the
Very late.
end.
Yeah.
Like these, we know are in time, we
Right,
got
they'll be
them.
in a stack with all the other ones that are on time, and you know
Right.
they're on time.
Yes, after the deadlines, we'll try to be very conscientious
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
putting the date stamp and making sure that it's clear.
that's something that gets looked at sometimes, right?
I'm sorry.
That's something that gets looked at sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably important to make sure that they're stamped regardless.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then here's the absentee, the one-stop applications.
Does Sandra have a stamp out in her area? Maybe that's where the breakdown is.
Yeah, I believe she does.
Cause if we were audited and somebody picked up one without a date stamp, we couldn't prove
Yeah, they might challenge
that.
the validity of the
Yes.
ballot.
Well, we could prove it by the date we scanned it in.
Yeah.
That, it's on the computer scan,
Right.
the electronic stamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But it'd be easier to have it on the envelope, yes.
I knew we had a backup.
I beg your pardon?
I knew we had a backup.
Yes, when the day you get them in the mail, you scan
You
them in.
scan, yeah, we scan on that day, but also this tells you the day I scanned it in.
Okay.
So right now, I mean, even the last year, we got them scanned in the day we received them.
Yeah, that's
You
great.
know, but we do like to have a date stamp on them.
I've already had a conversation with Karen Troll where I was at. I said that we will need it until we get to a place where we have cable connection again.
So what we're doing now, is signing the cover sheets for the one-stop early voting, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And these applications are when somebody comes to early vote, this is the first thing they're presented with, and that records that they've come to the ballot, to cast their ballot. But it's not this is not a ballot itself. That's kept separate.
That's similar to the form that you get on election day.
Mhm.
When you state your name and address, they have a label on election day. We have the computer which prints that out at early voting. And the voter signs that that is the voter. We ask them to check their name and the address to make sure it's the correct one.
Mhm.
And then they sign it. And they take that and they exchange that for their ballot.
Mhm. Mhm.
Who's getting the number of how many voted early.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Dawn? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, number 4, approval, chief judge, judge appointments and replacement.
We don't have anything for you to approve, but we need to notify you that we need a temporary replacement for a judge in the East Graham precinct, which is the Graham Civic Center. We've had someone to quit and we need to get that filled as quickly as possible.
Karen has tried
A lot of,
a lot of people.
is there a party, need, Democrat, Republican?
Now that she didn't tell me. Let me see. I'll text her.
Bean, Carter Bean.
Is Carter the one that's not going to participate?
I don't know. Is it?
With the report, yes.
Let me just
I
call
don't
her.
know.
Sometimes it's easier to call than to.
Madam Chair, at our last meeting, it was said that we needed 30 assistants to complete the precinct rosters, and I wonder how we're doing on that.
I can update you on that. We actually narrowed it down to, I believe, since we spoke to April Woods this morning, 10 to 12, depending on what the judge decides they'll need volume-wise. So we've knocked out about 2/3 of them,
Okay, good.
So you're saying we still need how many?
10 to 12.
Oh.
I give the judges or the chief judges a number of positions that they're going to have. And, you know,
Okay.
if they think that I've given them too many, or they think I have not given them enough, I give them the opportunity to contact me for a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them say, look, you know, we don't have that many people and we can do it.
Okay.
You know, my only concern is that we're still in the pandemic
Mm-hmm,
and somebody could take up sick in a minute.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really probably gave one extra person per precinct just in case. And so some of them have thought they could use that person. Even though I've combined 3 tasks into one person, they still could use, if that person wasn't there. I've combined the curbside person, the greeter, and the booth cleaner into one position this election. But if they couldn't find somebody to do that, a judge could do that position if they're a small precinct. So I've given them that opportunity. So that's what Judson means by,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if they tell us that they can do without it, you know, we'll let them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you and Karen have a couple of backup people, or gonna get a couple of backup people from the closed precincts
Mm-hmm.
that are open this time.
So in case we don't get these, the extra 10 to 12, it's not as if they don't have.
Well, it
Do-
depends on the precinct.
I was about to say, so is there a precinct who is you still think is extremely short? And, because.
Karen would have more information on that. I know there was one precinct that we had not heard back from the chief judge until at about 11:30 this morning. And I was occupied between when she heard from her and when she had spoken to me an hour and a half previous. So I know that precinct in particular was missing 3 key workers. And I'm not sure what they spoke about over the phone. It might have been the one that had a judge quit, so it might be 6E.
She did say it was still 10 to 12. You was right about that. And it is a Democrat that she needs there at 6E for a judge. And as of right now, we've had 1,187 vote early, at early voting.
But I know the majority of that 10 to 12 are singular people missing. So it's spread out fairly widely across all the 31 precincts.
But
Well, then she just texted me back and said, actually, that precinct has a Democrat and a Republican judge, so it doesn't matter. We could, either one would work.
Okay, so for 6E, which votes at the Graham Civic Center, we need a replacement judge, and it can be a Democrat or Republican.
Correct.
Okay. And for the 10 to 12 assistants, do we think this precinct is the one who probably needs at least 3 more?
I would say it is safe to assume that they at least need 1 or 2. Most of the missing are not from, the missing people are not concentrated in specific precincts, is what I'm saying. It's across the board, just a couple,
Right.
a smattering are missing.
But what I'm asking is there a precinct with a must-have? So would this precinct be a must-have?
7 altogether.
There
You know
is-
what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be something we have to ask Karen, because I don't know off the top of my head which ones, volume-wise, have must-haves versus ones that do not have must-haves. This is just information that I got secondhand from Karen, because she's been handling recruitment. I happen to know the numbers because I'm doing training,
the judge.
and I'm keeping track of that at the same time. So I'm not entirely sure. Wait, did you ask Karen when you went on there about which ones are must-haves of those?
Well,
12?
6E is the one that's down a judge. Kathy had requested that they have 7 assistants, and she only has 3 of the 7.
So if she only has 3 of the 7, then at least 3 of those are probably gonna be
And
must-haves.
that includes the judge. I mean, that does not include the judge.
Yeah, and not including the
But
judge,
they
which is
could
definitely a
they could
must-have.
get by with fewer.
Okay.
Right.
So we request 7, and this particular precinct has 3.
That 7 does not include the judge.
Correct.
I can't see that.
I don't know why you had 7.
That's what it would be 7 including the judge, because they have 2 books, a balance table, a tabulator.
We'll look when we get
Curbside.
back.
I can't see where they'd be.
That sounds a little bit high, doesn't it?
I can't see where they'd be over
For
5.
6E,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Cassie, are you saying when you,
They could get by with 5.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
could.
they could get
They
by
could
with
get by
5?
4.
Yeah, they could.
Okay, I think that's what she was asking. I don't know, I can't judge off the top of my head what the,
It's a smaller precinct,
it's a small
Yeah.
one.
but it is.
Okay, but they
greater
have
when they
3,
go
they
in,
need
you
4
know,
more
heavy
to make the
balance.
7 that we really would like for them to have. But if they had 1
Mhm.
would be good, 2 would be better.
Mhm.
Okay,
Or 1 or 2.
okay. And you said you give the list to the judge to call,
The chief judge.
the chief judge. So now that they don't have a chief judge,
Do they not have a chief?
They have
Still
the
have-
chief
They have a
judge.
chief
They're
judge.
just needing another judge.
But even if they have a chief judge, we still try to help them.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it is
okay.
a new chief judge though, okay?
Okay.
She's not, hasn't been there.
Okay. Okay, so is this information, so we're sharing this with the party chairs
Has she called the party chair?
I'm not sure about.
to say
She's
that?
probably, her first, course of action was probably to look through the closed precincts.
Okay.
Yeah,
To
I
see
know
if we
that's
have
what
any
she's been
experienced
doing.
people that are willing to come and help kind of train.
Mhm.
Then if she can't get anybody, she'll start calling party chairs, president, whoever we need to call.
Okay.
I know she's currently calling precincts that aren't open.
Okay. So then, so we're saying now that the individual, does the individual have to be from this precinct? Or did we say,
That's helpful, but, there comes a point in time where we have to take people from wherever we can get.
okay,
The law does require that we have 2/3 of the people from the precinct. But absent of willing participants, we have to have bodies in place.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, are there any more questions about the temporary replacement for a judge?
Judson, if you would, what would be nice, so that the board members will know because if the public's listening and has conversations from this, if you could let us know the precincts that we need assistance in, where we're short, so we can mail it out to the board members so that they're out and about, they can say, look, so-and-so, we'll take you.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
Since
absolutely.
it's not that many, it's not that big of a task, I think that we
Right.
could share that easily.
Okay,
That suit y'all?
that would
Yes,
be great.
Very helpful.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
So,
Okay. Okay. So we will get info on precincts that need assistance. Info. Okay. And you're gonna email that to us.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I have Mr. Ashby's email, but I know Kathy has Mr. Ashby's email, so I'll get you on our list.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about item number 4 on the agenda? Okay. Number 5, director's information for the board.
The turnout Sunday, I talked to the chair and told her I was excited we had 134, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I was happy that we made over 100. So a lot of the participation was obviously from the churches. We had the fellow that had served with us in 2020, helping to manage the curbside area where cars pull in and, they're waiting. We had him there. I mean, I was really excited and pumped up thinking we were going to have, lots of people, but we had some people. So still pleased with the turnout. And like I said, that was from 2 to 4. So I don't know. They said most of the people came right at 2 o'clock. And that, well, you were there right at 2 o'clock, and then it was really sporadic and sparse after that. So,
That's over 10% of the early voting that we've had, if I'm figuring that right. Yeah. So that's a pretty good turnout.
It is for a 2-hour period.
There you go. Yeah. How was it, Justin? Did the 2 hours seem to suffice where it kind of was over with at 4 o'clock and folks pretty much voted and out?
Well, in terms of the length of time, I think the volume had slowed down right at about 3:50.
Okay.
Whether that was because we ran out of people wanting to vote or because it was just a lull in the early evening,
I
I
understand.
can't say. But that is, we did have a lull towards the end.
In other words, yeah, we didn't have a long line at 4 o'clock waiting to vote.
No, but we did
Okay.
certainly at the beginning.
Yeah.
It left the door of the building for the first time I've seen this municipal period.
Right.
Mhm. Okay. So that, well, it lets us know that the Sunday voting does work. I mean, it did work this time. I think we're going to get a request either to open it earlier, like at 1, or leave it open another hour, because some people were concerned about us closing at 4. Wish we could have stayed open to 5. They could have gotten more people would have come out. So that's just information from the community. And I just tell them that is something we, as a board, will revisit the next time. So, you know, some of the, some churches still get out at 12:30, 1 o'clock. People still want to go eat. And so that was probably a concern also. Okay. Any questions about the Sunday voters, or any question about early voting? Now, for early voting, Kathy, do you think that's up or down?
It's up. Definitely up.
Okay.
I looked at the comparison between 2017 and 2019.
Mhm.
And at least, we broke 100 of that. And I know when I say we broke 100, people look at 100 and think 100, you know, that's not a lot, but we've been getting like 60 and 70.
Mhm.
So to me, that's an improvement.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if the improvement is because we're in a more, being at the auditorium, we're in a more visible location. You know, there are candidates out on the corner, there are signs on the corner. I don't know if the factor is that there are some contested and contentious elections throughout the county and municipalities. I don't know if there's just more interest from spilling over from 2020. You know, there are many factors that could be possible. But either way, I'll take 30 or 40 more a day or more than that. I'm pleased with that. It's a definite positive thing when we're able to explain to the taxpayers that we're using their money in a prudent and frugal manner. You know, that we're have the voter turnout to support being open.
Okay.
Well, and as we're talking about earlier, we need to talk about and maybe come to an agreement about a date that we will discuss the hours and dates and sites for the March early voting. I'd like, if the public is going to have input and they're going to speak to you, I would like to see those conversations happen before you make the decision, rather than after and have to revisit it and change things like we did for this time.
So
If
we
can
want,
let the public know at the time when we're going to, then they can submit their request to you to look at and consider ahead of time.
so you're saying okay, discuss the dates, hours, okay, for March. Okay.
Do you have a recommendation on a date?
Well, my suggestion would be if you could have a short board meeting after the Canvas meeting on the 9th. Because that gives you, if you can't come to a decision, that gives you time to set another date. Because I'd like to see it by the time we start candidate filing in December, which is on the 6th. I always like to be able to tell the candidates, you know, here's your schedule, here's the early voting schedule, here are the sites. So if you feel like that's an acceptable thing.
You said November 9th?
Yes, that's the Canvas date. And we can add, business meeting to the end of that. If it's okay with y'all.
Do we need to make a motion on that?
I guess we can make is that okay, Madam Chair, to make a motion to
have a
add
business
to the
meeting.
calendar, add to the current calendar?
At what time are we meeting on the 9th?
Justin,
Ele-
bring it
11.
up, please.
11
What's
o'clock?
Canvas is at 11, but y'all will meet us, I think, at 10.
10.
It's 10 or 9.
I think we
Well,
had 10 on the,
On the website, it should be 10, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. I'll check and see right here.
Because we're doing the provisionals that day as well.
Yeah,
10 a.m.
Okay, so
okay.
there's nothing else on there, but it's just say Canvas.
It says
Provisionals
municipal
and-
canvas meeting
Provision-
Tuesday.
But it doesn't say anything about provisionals.
It does not.
he's looking at that.
Oh, I was looking at the,
Don't-
what I have up here.
look
Are you
at
talking about
hers.
the
Yeah,
meeting sheet?
not our meeting sheet. And where was that you were?
That was in election information, election dates.
Okay, so we will have Canvas and the provisional meeting on Tuesday, November the 9th at 10 o'clock.
I see what you're saying.
We will begin canvassing at 11 though,
Yes,
correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What is the board's pleasure about having a business meeting following our canvassing meeting on November the 9th so that we can discuss dates and hours for
Early voting.
early voting in March?
I move that we have at our November 9th meeting, a business meeting that looks at the dates and times of early voting for March.
I'll second. Chair's allowed to second in a small meeting. So all those in, any questions, comments? Okay,
I just have a question. What time would it be?
well, it would depend on when we finish canvassing. So, do we want to say, because what we could do is,
I was just thinking if it's a meeting that you announce to the public, you would actually need to give a,
we will, that's what I'm going to say. Give me a moment. Because we might want to take a lunch break and come back and have the business meeting. And so we could have, do we want to say, because it would probably take us, how long do you think it's gonna take us to, normally, when we,
It depends on how close the races are.
yeah, for canvassing, should we say, if we do this, and we may not need until 1, but we could say we will come back we will have the business meeting at 1 o'clock.
and if we work through lunch, then that's okay. But if we finish up early, then we can break for lunch and come back for the meeting.
If we say we're having the business meeting at 1, then we'll start the business meeting at 1. Because that's the business meeting is what we have to advertise publicly. So what we'll have to do is if we say 1 o'clock, then that's when we'll have, so whether we've had lunch or not.
3 hours should be sufficient for the canvas.
We're canvassing starts at 11.
30 minutes,
45.
an hour at the max.
So that's what I was thinking. We will probably canvass maybe from 11 until 12, more than likely. If we say the business meeting starts at 1 o'clock, that gives us an hour in case we wanted to have lunch.
Or in case anything else. What did you said that if it's a tighter race, then it might take longer. How does that work?
Well, you'll have to discuss, potential for recount and, when that might be. And I didn't want to put that out there, but go ahead and make me say it.
I know, yeah, we made
No
you
hinting
say it.
here.
Okay,
I told you we don't want to put things out for the devil to hear.
It's Noah's fault. Go ahead.
Well, if we were to say that we will have a business meeting after the canvas and not give a time to it,
You have to go.
could we then say, we're going to take a break or suspend the meeting until 1:00 and pick up the business?
But we
meeting?
have to advertise the time of the business meeting.
Okay,
The business meeting's time has to be advertised.
okay.
So that's why I said 1:00.
Okay.
I think 1:00 sounds fine, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Okay, any other comments, around the November 9th meeting?
So it'll be 10 to 1, basically, right?
Well,
Yeah,
Well-
10 to whenever.
And then we'll have a break in between there at some point for lunch, possibly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But 10 to 1 tentatively.
Well, yeah, well, 1:00 we'll start the business meeting.
Business meeting, right?
Yeah.
Not, yeah, 10 and 1, not 10.
Yeah, 10 and 1.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Madam Chair, could I just mention to you and to the public, board members and to the public, that the consideration will be, the date, some of the dates are statutorily set,
Yes.
and the times are statutorily set. The dates that you would be considering would be the weekend hours, the weekend days and hours, essentially, and the sites.
Mhm.
And there's
Traditionally,
2 weekends, right? Well, there's a third weekend with a statutorily required Saturday from 8 to 3,
that's correct.
and no voting on Sunday on the last day of
That's right,
last weekend, but the previous 2 weekends are optional.
yes.
What we determined with Sunday,
Right.
yeah,
Other than,
Other than the
it
one
stops,
right
it stops
before,
on a certain
yeah.
day. You
Yeah.
can't go past when it
Right.
stops.
There's no option to,
I know we vote the last Saturday before the general election.
yes.
And so we don't vote that so the last Sunday before general election is not an option.
Right.
Yeah,
Understood.
okay. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed will signify by saying no. Motion carries. Okay. Is there any other business to come before this board?
I have no information further on the building where we are on the purchase, but I know that the county is working on it. I know they've got contracts floating around.
Yeah.
I haven't been advised if they've been signed, but I know that they're working on it. It's not something that has dropped.
Okay.
And we are still looking for somewhere to put this at the end of November.
I was about to say, so at the end of November, we still don't know what we're going to do.
The plan is to put what we can in a county facility that, currently owned county facility. That's not going to be big enough for everything, so we'll have to sparse it out into some storage unit areas, some of the things that don't have to be secured,
Mhm.
tables, chairs, that sort of stuff. Computers, anything election supply oriented, that, not signs, of course, just
Yeah.
things that they would need to start stocking their bags and precinct supplies for March would have to be kept in a place that they could work. That's what we're working on now.
Okay. Any questions or comments for the executive director about facilities or the storing of property and equipment? Okay. We just want the county commissioners to speed it up.
In their defense, there's just not a lot of property out there. And especially people that want to, if we're gonna have a building that we're buying, especially people that want to do a short-term rental for us to have somewhere just for a few months to put some things in.
But we're not looking for a rental. We're looking,
But
I
yeah,
mean, they're looking to buy.
But
Is
if-
that not correct?
they are, but the place that they're doing, with the contract that they're looking to buy, it has to be renovated
Yes,
a little bit.
right.
So we're gonna have to have somewhere to go between here and there. So we got A, B, and C, we need B.
Mhm.
We're in A, we need a B, and then we'll have to move from B to C when the new facility's complete. And there's just, when you think of up doing somewhere with security, even the minimal security that we would need for the items that we would store for the temporary time, that's, and fence, of course.
Mhm.
And then, again, people don't want to rent for a month or two or three, they want a long-term lease.
So, the facility where we are looking, did they give us any indication as to, how long it would take to, and that, I guess that's what you're getting at, to renovate? Oh,
I mean,
okay, so that's why we don't know.
they have the word from this office that we have a March primary. That's very unlikely that it will be moved. The primary will be moved. And that we will need to be somewhere in place by February to be able to stock supplies.
The state's got to finish that redistricting before March, right? That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah,
So there's always a possibility you may see a primary move. Are you shaking that head saying, I sure hope not, or?
I don't, the word has come down that it's, apparently aligning the sand.
That they'll use the existing conditions, or that they've pretty much got it done and they just need to
I
move it?
don't know I don't know what
Okay.
the General Assembly's pleasure will be as far as drawing those lines and how they will, what they're gonna do, but I just know that it will be
In March.
in March. They have indicated that there is no intention of moving this election.
What do you say they, you mean the State Board of Elections?
No, the word is from the.
General
From the
Assembly.
Legislature.
General Assembly say that-
Yeah, that they're not gonna, you're talking about not moving the date.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well,
That's
that-
They need a deadline.
That tells me they pretty much got their mind made up with the districts, and if they're saying, we're not gonna move the primary, so
Right,
apparently
yeah.
they're gonna
Now,
vote on.
there is word that they have said that they are not moving,
Yeah.
that the primaries will be in March. So
That means they're gonna,
we can, as Andrew Griffith said, we can deduce
that they're gonna prove each district pretty quick.
from that, that they have some indication of how the districts will be drawn.
Mhm.
Okay,
I have long since given up trying to second guess the General Assembly on what they do as far as drawing maps
yeah,
or the input and output.
okay, but that, yeah, but see, that doesn't help us with where we're going to be.
We
Not a
just
bit.
need- We just need somewhere to.
We
to
need, we just,
function.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that still doesn't
Yeah,
help. We still need space.
Regardless.
Whether it be March or August, we need space.
We need space.
Yeah.
Like now, regardless. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Properly moved to second. Any objections? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Our next meeting will be